Okay, welcome to another episode of Live Life by Design. We have in the house Mr. Rick Barry. Thanks for being on the show.
Happy to be here. Always happy to meet new people and talk about interesting things. And it is good because in life you really do have control of things. I'm kind of surprised that most people can't really control their own lives. I mean, it's very difficult. I have the capacity to be able to, or the ability, I guess is a better word to use, to take things and put them on the back burner that make me sad. Like people ask me, do you miss playing ball? And I say no, and they look strangely at me. And I said, well, no, because I don't think about it. Why would I think about the fact that I will never again be able to do what I love so much and has been such an integral part of my life and my family's life, and think about the fact I can never do that again? I could get depressed over that. And so, but a lot of people don't have the ability to do that. Unfortunately, I've learned that over the years. I say the majority of people can't. They allow their emotions to take control of themselves, and you have to be able to control your own emotions and have the ability to not allow that to impact you in a negative way. And so many people do that, and I feel badly for them because it makes life kind of miserable at times.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with you. You know, the Pareto principle's out there, right? 80-20, 80% of what happens to you is on you, 20% is outside of you.
Yeah, but how you react to the other 20%, you have control over that. 100%. You should. I mean, and a lot of people allow that to impact them in a negative fashion, which is sad and unfortunate. I try to tell people, I say, look, here's the deal. Life is a journey. You're going to have a lot of ups, a lot of downs, like a roller coaster ride. And what you have to do is you have to learn to put things in the proper perspective. If something makes you sad, hey, cry and get over it. Move on. Because once it happened, it's over. But yet they let it linger and they let it stay there and they relive it time after time. That's just so self-destructive. And I'm just, thank God, every night that I have the ability to deal with it in that way.
Is this something that you feel like you've had for a long period of time?
Yeah, you learn through experiences in life. I mean, I've been around a long time. I like the word. I'm an octogenarian now, which is hard for me to freaking believe that I'm that old, because I really don't feel much differently than I felt when I was in my 50s. I can't run as fast. I can't jump as high. I'm not as good in bed. But other than that, I'm great.
So how old are you exactly now?
I'm an octogenarian. I'm 80 years old.
80 flat?
Yeah,
Okay,
I hope to be a nanogenarian. And then I want to become, whatever they call centurion. No, that's the Roman guy, a centurion, but a centurion, whatever the hell it is when you get to be 100. My goal is to be 100 years old and be able to still fly fish and play pickleball.
I love it. So Pickleball
is my new passion. I think in life you have to have passions. You have to have things that get you excited, that you enjoy doing. Otherwise, life is boring. When I gave up basketball, the thing I missed the most was the competition, to get out and to compete with, against someone. That's what I love. That's why I did long driving and golf, and that was cool. I'm competing against somebody, trying to win championships. I won 4 world long driving championships, but then they got rid of all the old farts, and so I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to find something else, and my wife introduced me to pickleball. My first reaction was, what the hell is pickleball? Yeah. And when I found out, because I played a lot of tennis, but that got to be really hard on my body, and I just fell in love with pickleball. And I set a goal for myself to win a major championship in my age and skill category, and as I got better and my skill went up, I managed to accomplish that. I actually decided to play singles this year for the first time because I was afraid of how I was going to be on my knee because it's much more demanding. And so I worked at it and played with a lot of good guys. My buddy Doug Eden, who was a former junior championship player who also does some investments and stuff that I do with him. So I worked with him, and he's really good. He's a 5-0 player, and it's like tennis 2-5, 3, 3-5, 4. And I'm at a 4-5 now in my age and skill, and I'm one of the top-ranked players in the world at my skill. And so I played singles in the U.S. Open in April, and I won singles, mixed doubles, and men's doubles. My hardest thing was trying to find a woman partner. I have my friend Fred Shuey from San Diego that we've played a lot of events together. We've won a lot of championships. But to try to find a woman who was 80 years old, who was a good enough player to play at that level. And my buddies down in Naples, Florida, Denny Vincent he said, Rick, I think I found your partner. And his lady happened to be Sue Matthews from Naples. And we played together and we won pretty easily. So that was kind of exciting. And I'm going to get to play in the World Senior Championships coming up later in the year in October in St. George. And then in November, I've got the USA Pickleball National Championships that I'll be playing in. And then also the U.S. Senior Pickleball Championships in December. Those are down in Arizona. And I'm actually going to play with a former great women's tennis player back in Billie Jean King's day. She was number 13 in the world in singles, Alice Tim. And so Alice and I are going to play together in the World Seniors and also in the USA Pickleball Nationals. And I would assume that if everything goes well, we'll play in the seniors as well. So my goal there is to try to win the Triple Crown there as well. And so you got to have goals for yourself.
And then, so when did you start playing pickleball?
About 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
About 8 years ago, I spent 2 years going up. Dick Scott is a guy that is up in the Villages, a famous place north of Tampa. It's crazy place. I mean, it's just an amazing place. They have over 300 pickleball courts, and it's just awesome. And they have a lot of great players. And so I went up there. I used to drive 2 hours. I'd get up early in the morning, drive 2 hours, go up there, play in the morning, got to know some of the people. Dick would let me stay at his house, or another buddy of mine, Rich up there, Rich Rollins, and his wife Cassandra, they let me stay at their place, so I'd stay overnight and play again the next morning, so that it wouldn't be 2 hours there, 2 hours back in one day. So I get 2 good days of pickleball in, and played and learned and listened to these older guys who were really good. Ted Meyer was another great player, 5-0 player, who actually invited me to play in the World Seniors with him. Like, I was shocked that he was willing to ask me to play, because I wasn't a 5-0 player, and we actually won the tournament. So that was one of my big accomplishments. But I met a lot of great people up there. But like anything in life, you need to prepare yourself properly. You need to learn as much as you can the fundamentals of the game, and then you need to put the time and the effort in to perfect what it is that you're trying to do. So I've done that in pickleball. It's great. Hopefully I'll be able to continue to play, and it's a lot of fun. My son Drew is a good player. I haven't had a chance to see if my son get Brent into it, but Drew is good. My youngest son, Candy, who just played in the Olympics in 3x3, unfortunately they had an injury to Jimmer Fredette, and it hurt their chances, but he's a heck of a pickleball player. In fact, we even talked about trying to play in a tournament. I would have to play down, because you can't be younger and play against older people, but you can be older and play against younger people. I actually won some tournaments against 50-year-olds, and so, but I would have to play with him, so I'd have to play. It's kind of scary in the open division, so I'm looking for some tournaments that they have where you have a combined age. So that'd be kind of cool. So I can combine our ages, and then we could play, and that way we would play against maybe 2 50-year-olds, because I'm 80, he's 30, so, or 100 to 110, whatever it may be. But it would be fun to play with him, because he's really good athlete and a really good pickleball player.
That's awesome. And I mean, just listening to you, I can feel the youthfulness. Like,
well,
that's a part of you.
You got to be that way about everything in life. I mean, we got to be boring, sit around and be boring. I mean, you should get excited about things in life. And, so pickleball was mine. And then fishing, I'd go to the Amazon jungle with my buddy Rob Anderson down there and go fishing for peacock bass in the middle of the Amazon jungle with nobody else around. And I'm going to go down to the south island of New Zealand in January to go and do some fishing down there. So, I love all that stuff. Alaska, all over Alaska fishing. It's awesome.
Have you been to Lake Iliamna?
Oh yeah, sure, of course, yeah. It's Iliamna River. They have a great lodge, the Rainbow River Lodge.
Yeah,
I
love that lodge.
Huh?
I've been
Rainbow.
there a few times.
You've been there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they have the Iliamna River Lodge, which is owned by the same people, Chad and Bill.
In fact, my very first experience fly fishing was that, so it ruined me for
Which
life.
one were you at?
Rainbow
River
King.
with Chad. Who's the owner? Did you meet the owner?
Yes, I did. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Chad. Yeah, so Chad's the owner of that.
Where you have the
Bill
planes
Betts.
right there.
Oh
right
yeah,
next
the
to
planes are right
cabins.
there. Bill Betts is who runs the Iliamna River Lodge, and they have some other stuff that they do as well. But yeah, that does spoil you though.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, if you like, I'm a numbers guy. Because to me, every strike is like an adrenaline rush. And so for me, it's all about how many strikes can I get. So my goal is to get 100 strikes, to hook up 100 fish a day when I go up there. And the guides knew that, and they knew I was serious. And I've had some amazing days. I mean, you'll appreciate it, since we flew up to the upper lake, the Rainbow River, and then you float down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rafts. Well, I went up one day. I was up there by myself. I didn't go with anybody else. And so one of the guides and I went up, and they had a smaller raft with a small motor. So as we came out of the slough, before you would drift down to go back towards the lodge, we took it and went up. So not a lot of action up there, so there should be plenty of fish, right? And so the guy said, Rick, we should be able to get 100 today. I said, what, are you kidding me? With just you and I going up here? If we don't get 100, I said, you might not make it back to camp alive. Just joking around with him, of course. And So we got 100 hookups so fast. He said, Rick, I think we can get 200. Do you want to go for it? Let's go.
You're like, no.
So I mean, if you bring that in, let's go. Okay, jump in. We jump another place, switch the fly out, do whatever. And so before we get to the last bend, before they pick us up on the boats and take us back to the lodge, I just stopped at a number because I wanted to have a number that was memorable. So we'd hit 200. So I stopped at 24, my number when I played. So one day on the river up there, Rainbow River, I killed it. I just 224 hookups in one day. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of bear?
Yeah, you get to see bears. In fact, one of the times I was up there, I was walking down the river. The nice thing there is it's not like down here in the lower 48 where you have huge boulders and rocks. It's not hard to walk in some of the rivers. You got to do it by boat or along the shore. But some of these places you can actually walk, and it's a little bit up and down because the salmon are coming down to start to lay their eggs. But you can actually walk. So I was walking. The guy was behind me, and he was just pulling the boat along with him. And it wasn't all that wide. Probably, I would say 40 feet across, something like that, the one where we were walking. And I'm walking, and there's a big bush over there. As I'm walking, I'm casting right, trying to cover a lot of water, obviously, to get hookups. A bear comes flying out behind a bush and scared the hell out of me to dive after a salmon. And then he got up, shook his head. He turned and saw me, and I scared the hell out of him. And he just ran right back out of the water. But I've been as close as 8 feet from a grizzly.
Yep.
Whew. That's an interesting experience, but they really don't bother you. I mean, if you don't, the stupidest thing, you never go between a mom and his cubs, okay? And you don't mess around with that. But generally, they don't want to have anything to do with you. If they hear you, in fact, when you walk and you're going through some of the hikes and through some of the weeds or whatever, the guides make some noise and stuff, and the bears will usually just take off and go. There's never actually been, as far as I know, and this was years ago, an incident where a bear attacked a fisherman if there were 2 or more people. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, and you know what the guides told me, at least, is there were so many fish that they could access that they
they're hungry. I mean, they're eating fish all the time, so they're not going out to hunt for people. I mean, they would rather have fish, I think, than humans. So it's great though. It's awesome.
So pickleball, fishing, what else?
And just watching like it's so sad because I think my son Canyon, after the 3x3 experience there, and unfortunately they didn't get a medal, but he may be done with basketball, and so that's sad for me because I got so much joy out of watching my boys play, and to have 5 sons all get Division I college scholarships, to have 5 sons play professionally. It's been such a joy in my life, and Canyon with my wife is a different mother to the other boys, but she was an All-America basketball player. In fact, I'm really proud. My wife, Lynn, and our son Canyon, the history of NCAA basketball, no other mother and son have been first-team academic All-Americas. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Pretty cool.
And then broadcasting?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of that, and unfortunately, I was ahead of my time. They said that I was too negative. What it was is that I felt like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. I mean, people really don't like the truth.
Sure.
And then people, I was truthful about stuff. I wasn't a shill. I mean, I'm going to tell you the good. I'm going to tell you the bad. And so what I learned from it is that you have to kind of accentuate the positive and not be so much about the negative. But there are a lot of negative things. I mean, every sport, there are negative things that happen. And usually the winner is the team that makes the fewest mistakes.
Sure.
And so that's just the reality of sports in general. And so I was a little bit ahead of my time in that regard, but I know I did a good job, and I got to do play-by-play, which I really liked a lot. And I got the pleasure of working with Tony Verna, who was the guy that started Instant Replay. He was the director, and Bob Stenner, a really well-known producer who did a lot of stuff on CBS for football. The 2 of them worked together. Tony's won a bunch of Emmys. And he said, Rick, you have the opportunity to do something really unique because of your experience as a player on a professional level, and the level that you reached, and your play-by-play, your analyst work, which he said he thought I did a great job, and which made me feel good. He said, you could take the play-by-play and do something with it that usually is never done, which is cross over the line. You have the knowledge to be able to talk about the game from a technical standpoint as well as doing the play-by-play. And that's what I was proud of doing, because I would certainly do things, because when I watch a game, I see a broad picture of the game. I don't just focus in on the ball. I see everything that's going on. Kind of when I played, you got to have peripheral vision and court vision. And so I remember when I was doing play-by-play, I would say, it's Magic on the break. He's got Worthy on the left. Well, people are looking. There's nobody on the left because I see Worthy, but he's not in the camera shot. And next thing you know, Magic's here. And next thing you know, he makes the pass, and here's Worthy coming in on the left because I'm talking about things that most of the people don't see. And so I was really pleased with that. And then talking about they're on a break. It's a 3-on-2. To give people a little bit more enjoyment of the game and learn a little bit more about it. And it's a fine line that you have to really walk that not a lot of guys do, or women who are doing stuff now. And that's a whole nother story. But you can't be so technical that you lose the casual observer. Because most of the people who are watching are fairly fall into that category, a casual observer. They like the game, whatever. And then there are those people who really do understand the game. And if you're so basic, you insult the intelligence of those people. So it's a fine line you have to walk to do that. And so that's something that I took pride in trying to do. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and tell me how much they enjoyed the work that I was doing. But the problem was, again, they said I was negative. And then I hear a guy, what a lousy pass that was. Well, I'm watching the game and say, well, no kidding. Everybody saw it was a lousy pass. Tell people why it was a lousy pass. What pass should he have made to make it a good pass? Be a little bit more informative. So it's hard for me to watch games and listen. I watch them without the sound.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I record them and do stuff, and I watch them and do stuff. And occasionally I turn it on just to see what's being said. And it's hard for me because I'm seeing things there that aren't being talked about. And I'm going, why are they not talking about that? And so it's not enjoyable for me to have to listen to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Regarding the negativity, what came to mind is truth sounds like hate to those who hate the truth.
Yeah. and here's the thing that really is upsetting more than anything. I'll be asked a question. I give you an honest answer. And then they get mad at me because they don't like the answer. Well, first of all, if you ask someone a question,
you shouldn't ask.
You should. Don't get upset. I'm entitled to my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but you don't have to get upset with me because my opinion is different than your opinion. And my problem was, and I learned it from my incredible wife, Lynn. She said, honey, you're probably the most honest person I've ever met in my life. But the problem is you're brutally honest. We got to get the brutality out of your honesty. And she had a great thing, and I think about it myself, and I catch myself a lot now because of her. Honey, what goes into your brain doesn't necessarily have to come out of your mouth, which is a good thing to live by. It really is true. And I would get in a lot of trouble because I would say what I was thinking, and sometimes it's maybe not the appropriate thing to say. Even though it's honest, it might not be in the best circumstances to say that.
Okay. No, it's been great, everything you've said so far. So let's backtrack a little bit. You're retiring from the NBA. Thoughts, feelings, how do you keep the competitive edge when that chapter is coming to an end?
Well, that's why I was prepared to do other things, broadcasting work. I was broadcasting while I was still playing. I studied in college. I couldn't have a minor because I majored in marketing in the business school, and they didn't allow you to have a minor, but I probably had enough credits to have a major in radio, TV, and film work. I took all kinds of courses to be able to prepare myself properly for it. And I think in life you need to prepare yourself properly. And, basketball can only last a certain amount of time. It's a limited career. And so I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to do broadcasting while I was still playing. And I got into it and did it for a lot of years. And then unfortunately the timing was such that my honesty got me in trouble, and I didn't get the opportunity to do those things, do what I love to do. I really love it. What I loved probably even more was not just doing basketball. I loved it when I got to do a lot of other sports. I did the World Swimming and Diving Championships with Mark Spitz. I got to do the World Frisbee Championships. I got to do all kinds of other sports. And it actually was way more fun because when you go as a broadcaster with a network to go and cover a sporting event, if it's not a competitive situation like basketball with one team against the other team, they really like having you there. Whereas when you do if you do your job properly as an analyst for a sport, a team sport, people in each city are going to hate you. Because the fans, the only thing they want to hear is they want to hear all the good things about their team and the bad things about the other team. The last thing they want to hear is telling them something good about the other team and something bad about the team. So I knew when I went to cities and people were on my case, I was doing my job properly because I was saying good and bad about both of them. I was being honest.
I wish you would broadcast politics.
Listen, don't even get into politics. Politics is insulting to my intelligence. I really believe that the majority of politicians believe the majority of the country are stupid.
Yeah.
And they get away with stuff that is reprehensible. A lot of them should be in jail. It's so it really insults me. And so I try not to ever talk politics. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. Politics in and of itself, I mean, what is it? They broke it down. It's a pretty ugly thing. Poly and ticks. I mean, it's not a good thing. Politics.
It's Hollywood for ugly people.
It's just, it's sad. And the problem is party politics.
Yeah.
I mean, if we would just do what's right for the country and for the people, the country would be a lot better off. But it's all about control and power. And they do whatever they can do to have that control and to have that power. And so I lost a lot of respect for politics early in my career. And I won't mention any names here, but I was approached by someone to run for office after my rookie year in California. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm playing ball. How am I supposed to be in politics and get elected to an office when I'm playing ball? And this was the words that were said to me. You don't have to be there. I said, what? I said, I don't roll that way, okay? I mean, if I'm going to do something, I'm immersing myself in it. I'm going to give, like my father taught me, I'm going to give my best effort in anything that I do in life. And when he said that, I was flabbergasted. You don't have to be there. I said, I'll pass. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of respect for that, and I just hope that whatever happens, I'm really worried about my grandchildren. I have 9 grandchildren now, and yeah, I don't know what this country is going to be like when they get older. I'm concerned. I'm really genuinely concerned about that because some of the stuff that's going on now is very scary and very frightening because this is not the country I grew up in when I was a young person. And I've seen a transformation take place that's very disturbing to me. It really is. Yeah. I'm a conservative person. I'm not a registered Republican, a Democrat, whatever. I am a person who wants what's best for the United States of America and the citizens of America.
Okay, very well said. Okay, I'll end with this question. So I love asking guests, what is your definition of living life by design? Everybody has their own definition. The premise is this: you can either live your life by design or you can live it by default. The more you can design your life and make things happen on your accord, where you're the author, you're the architect, obviously the better life you'll have. But what would be your definition of living your life by design?
Well, probably what you said. I mean, I think everybody has the opportunity to do that if they decide that's what they want to do. But you just can't sit idly by and expect good things to happen to you. I mean, if you want something, you have to go for it, right? Like what's the Army slogan, what be all you can be? Well, yeah, you should always, my father, son, always give your best effort in everything you do. You have to believe in yourself. You have to learn to have confidence in yourself. If you want to be great at anything, you have to believe in yourself. I mean, I talk about all these things to businesses and the qualities I think that help make me the player that I became and the person who I am are qualities that apply to whatever your job is in life.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to learn the fundamental concept and principles of whatever it is. But I tell young kids, if you get nothing else from me out of what I'm telling you today, please get this. Find something you have a love and a passion for. And apply yourself to it. Learn as much about it as you can, because then you can be like I am. I love basketball. I had a father who taught me the fundamentals. So I put the biggest foundation. I learned the fundamental concepts and principles of the game, studied the game, did it, and said, just think about it. I get up in the morning. I got to go and do what I love to do, play basketball. Someone paid me to do what I love to do. I said, that's not a job. A job is when you get up in the morning, I got to go to work today. If you love what you're doing, it's not a job. And you could provide a living for yourself. And if you get married and have a family, provide for them, doing something that you love to do. And that's what you're saying. You're doing it by design. I mean, this is what I love. I'm going to apply myself. I'm going to learn to do it. Don't be afraid of failing. I tell them, don't be afraid to fail. You're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. But the intelligent people learn from the mistakes that they make. They minimize their mistakes. You don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And you become better at what you're doing through learning and experiencing it. So mistakes are part of it. So yeah, I'm 100% with what you're talking about. That's, unfortunately, it's back to what I talked about early. people don't have that instilled in them growing up. And I think all of it has to do with being fortunate enough to have and be around family or parents, whoever it may be, to instill those kind of thought processes into you. Like my father. And I'm proud of it, that all my son, always give your best effort. Never, ever be totally satisfied with what you're doing. Always try to get better. Hell, I was the best free throw shooter in the league, right? Ever. I changed. I mean, that's why when I saw Tiger Woods, I had so much respect for him. The best golfer in the world changed his swing a bunch of times. Why? To get better. That's what I did. I changed my technique. I still think I'm the best free throw shooter ever, because my last 6 years, I shot over 92%. My last 2 years, I shot over 94%. And I brag about it because it's the only part of the game of basketball you can be selfish and help your team. And I think it's just absolutely beyond my comprehension that team owners and general managers and coaches don't demand that players sometimes try my underhanded free throw technique, which is proven to be by physicists to be the most efficient way to do it, and demand that they learn how to do it, because if they're shooting 40, 50, 60, 70%, they are a detriment to their team. And so it just dumbfounds me that where else in the world can you tell your boss, when he tells you he wants you to do something, no, and still have a job? I mean, seriously, I just think about that. It's just insane, the stuff that happens in sports that is different than what normally takes place in the real world. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I love what you guys are talking about. It's absolutely the way that you would hope that most people would approach life that way. We probably would have a better world, and people would be a lot happier.
I agree. There's nothing else to add. That's a show. This has been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Pleasure.